I see what old chaps and chapettes game chap and Bertie here.
Yes.
Yes, fellows, and I dare say we are now bringing you the latest Minecraft news. It seems indeed that devs have been hard at work, and we have some new features we can tell you about today, you know.
Well, we certainly do, old chap. Yes, indeed. Of course, everyone's interested in what's going on with Minecraft.
Yes.
Since Microsoft bought them.
That's right.
The whole thing. We haven't really heard much, you see. Obviously, they're now being allowed to, let some things out, etc., so forth. And it would seem that Mr. Jeb, yes, Mr. Jeb,
I see.
has added something.
Really?
Yes.
And what might that be, old
What's
chap?
he added? Well, the thing is, Mr. Jeb is going to be adding, or has added, dirt paths.
Dirt paths, you say?
Paths. Now, it sounds a bit sort of boring at the moment, when you first hear it, a dirt path.
Do we have a photo of these dirt paths,
Well,
old
we
chap?
do. It's rather interesting. So have a little look at this and see what you all think.
Well, I say, what do we have here, fellows? This appears to be a dirt path indeed in the grass. Now, is it dirt paths, or paved, old chap?
That I don't care about.
It's paving, perhaps. I don't know.
It's just a path.
Path.
So there we have it there. Now, as you can see, as we look at it,
Yes.
It looks to me, if I'm right in saying, that we could be looking at perhaps a new block here.
Yes, I do think so, old boy. As you can see, a bit like carpet, of course, it's set down one small slice beneath the grass itself, and it's kind of like regular dirt, but it's not actually regular dirt. It's more like smooth dirt that you can walk on as an actual path, a bit like a muddy path you might see in a country lane, perhaps.
It looks to be that way, and something you pointed out there, it's sort of set down.
Yes.
Not a block down, but just a little set down.
Slice down.
Now, yes, exactly. Now, I wonder if that's something to do with the block itself.
I don't know, but of course, as you can see, the actual block, looking at that texture very closely, it appears to be either a reworked grass block, or perhaps it looks a bit cell sandy, old chap. I'm not entirely sure, but in any case, it is not cell sand or regular dirt. That's actually a dirt path, and presumably it's going to have its own name.
Yes, exactly. We don't know what that is at the moment, or what its function might be. I mean, I suppose it might just be for just for show that you could have a path going to your house or off to your castle or where it may be.
I think that's the idea, because of course many people right now like to make little paths using stone slabs, of course, and I think that looks very nice. But now you're also going to be able to have dirt paths, if that's more your thing.
But what about that depth they seem to have there on the edges of the grass?
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't look to be a sort of slab thickness.
No.
So is this a new sort of design we're looking at?
This is, I'd say, sort of carpet thickness, old boy, or perhaps a snow layer thickness.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what it is.
Yes,
perhaps
could
an
be.
eighth of a block there. And also, someone said perhaps this might give you a speed boost, but Miss Jeb actually said no, it won't be giving you any kind of speed boost at all on the path.
No, indeed, yes. So if you think you're going to get a speed boost on that, in a similar way you get a slowdown on certain
Soul
blocks,
sand, yes.
But soul sand, for example, it doesn't look as though that will be the case.
Okay.
How it will react, we don't know, and whether you can place the block down or, well, obviously you will be able to place the block down.
No, I'll just go across you there, because that's quite interesting, of course, the method of how you actually get the block. Now,
Yes.
Mr. Jeb hinted it may be something to do with a shovel or spade. Perhaps, I don't know, just a wild guess here, you might right-click the ground, perhaps, with a shovel to make this path.
Oh, a bit like a sort of someone who works on the road, sort of building the old roads with a shovel, and as they go, it appears, maybe.
Well, I don't know. I'd be thinking more along the lines of perhaps using the shovel to hack off the top layer and then pat it down to get the path, you'll see. Patting it, tap, 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 you'll see.
Yes, that's interesting, yes, but then the shovel then would have to have a different sort of, or a new use assigned to it, though, to do that, wouldn't it?
I think so. Perhaps, as I said, right-clicking the ground, and perhaps that will take up some shovel durability to do so. I'm not sure, but certainly I think you'll still be able to dig with the shovels, of course.
So this is the first sort of new thing we've seen in a little while actually added, isn't it?
That's right, and now Miss Jeb also confirmed the road is coming for Minecraft Pocket Edition also, and furthermore there's going to be cave spiders in MCPE too.
Okay, so we could have spiders crawling up the road, I suppose.
Well,
we just threw that in there, there's going to be spiders.
You never know, it's a good idea.
Yes,
now,
but it is actually going to be on the Pocket Edition as well.
That's right.
And we would presume that this will come in the next update.
We hope so, the 1.9 update, which we're going to get this time, it looks, by George at last.
Well, it looks like it, yes.
Now, also, Mr. Jeb said he's considering adding another type of food, I understand.
Yes, indeed he is. And this is rather interesting. No doubt everyone will be rather interested in that, because he is considering, apparently, adding corn as a plant food.
Corn?
Corn. Now, if you ask me, that's a rather good idea, because if you think, I mean, you've got all those fields out there in Minecraft. You've got grass everywhere, fields, people making their crops, but the biggest crop you see anywhere when you go out in the country, certainly here in the United Kingdom or in Great Britain, is corn everywhere.
But hold on just a moment, put the brakes on, old boy. Don't we already have wheat as a crop?
Well, we do have
It's
wheat.
very similar to corn, old boy, I have to say.
But wheat's not the same as corn, is it?
Don't you find wheat inside the corn or something? I don't know.
Well, you might do, but it's... oh, yes, I don't know.
Hold on, this is very confusing. We need a farmer here, old boy.
We do, but nevertheless, no corn. No, corn makes wheat, doesn't it? Oh, I don't know, but anyway.
Is it like sweet corn?
It could be sweet corn.
Maybe that's what it is. Corn on the cob,
it could
you
be
know.
that type of corn. Yes, it could be corn. Yes, like that.
He may not mean corn as in wheat corn. He may mean sweet corn.
Well, he might mean sweet corn. I thought he would have said sweet corn if that was the case.
But don't they call it corn over there in these countries, old boy?
Well, they may do, yes,
I don't know. This is very interesting. So in any case, Vales, whether it's going to be bread or sweet corn, it will indeed be corn as a possible plant soon.
Well, indeed. Well, corn flour and wheat flour are specifically different, so there we are.
I'm thinking he actually means sweet corn, old boy, because in the UK it's called sweet corn, old chap.
Well, I very much doubt that, but nevertheless,
I
it's
don't
corn.
know. Anyway,
And he's thinking of adding that as a... Well, whatever it'll be there, added as a new plant or food, which is rather interesting.
Either way, yes, a rather interesting possible new food, and I think certainly there's always room for more foods in Minecraft. Now, also, I understand a certain Pocket Edition dev is working on boats in the PC game, apparently, to make them a bit less buggy.
Oh, I see. Oh, yes, to make them less buggy.
That's what they say, in, shall we say, generally broken, old chap.
Well, most certainly. Now, apparently this is a Pocket Edition dev, as you said, working on the boats. The way I think about it, Microsoft no doubt will want to make sure that everything within the game is working as it should do, because one thing we can say about most of the games they're involved in, certainly, there's no bugs in them, really, is there, to speak of?
Well, a bit, perhaps not quite as bad as the boat bug. I mean, the boats, of course, are notoriously a bit unreliable, and they do break even at the slightest touch, even now. So,
well, exactly, so they're going to no doubt want to tidy all these up, and I think that's a rather good thing to start with.
That's right. Now, of course, meanwhile, elsewhere in Mojang, they are also working on, apparently, a new idea, which is multiple health bars for bosses. That means you can have more than one health bar on the screen at the same time, or so they say.
Well, if you've got more than one health bar, then no doubt you've got more than one boss.
Ah, exactly.
Which is rather interesting. So perhaps they're thinking of multiple bosses or similar.
So let's just play with that for just a moment. Of course, if we had multiple bosses, that could mean, for example, you could either have multiple withers, perhaps, or maybe there might be a new boss on the way.
Well, I think that's a very long... we haven't had any indication that that is the case. It might not be the case, we don't know. It might not be multiple bosses, but certainly you can have multiple health bars, which is rather interesting.
Or maybe you'll have a boss that somehow splits into 3 forms, who knows?
Well, we don't know.
Just a guess, I say.
And no doubt many people will be asking that. You know, this is very nice, and we've got some nice, perhaps, corn coming, and isn't it good that we've got a path now that we can put out to our castle, wherever it may be, or house? But what about the new mobs and new things like that coming?
That's right.
I mean, you know, perhaps the health bar thing is a good pointer towards that, maybe.
Yes.
I mean, I think the community is crying out for and saying, look, yes, we want more mobs and things, please, and it's all fun.
Please and thank you. That's right.
Yes.
Of course, and we also do know, of course, that at Mojang they are working as we speak on 1.9, and perhaps also, so the rumour goes, something to do with the end. But nothing's final yet, old boy. We, of course, will have to wait and see whether more details emerge soon. Now, of course, at one point, we did have Mr. Notch saying about the Red Dragon. That was a very, very long time ago, but I don't think that idea was ever officially discounted, old chap. So, I mean, we don't know. Perhaps one of these days we might see the Red Dragon, and that could be something to do with the end. I'm just throwing ideas out here now because, of course, we don't have any final details yet, but we do know in any case they are definitely working on things.
Well, that's an interesting point. The Red Dragon, we mentioned it before, and everybody knows about it, or most people know about the Red Dragon, that Mr. Notch said and promised and never did, then went off and bought a big house.
Well,
but the thing is, you see, when you're dealing with things like that, bringing in specific things like the Red Dragon, for example, or any mob like that, it has to have a, it's got to have somewhere to live, and it's got to have a purpose, etc., and so forth.
Yes.
And of course, Mr. Notch did have that very specific and unique creativity.
Yes.
Where he could add things in like that.
That made sense, you know.
Most certainly, yes, indeed. And I think, we've got to sort of say, well, is it still there? I think Mr. Jeb certainly does have that.
Yes.
He's added some to it.
Good ideas.
Anything added like that would have to fit just right in with the whole Minecraft feel. So they have to get that right if they're adding things like that, I think.
I think so, old boy. And of course, just speaking of Mr. Notch, I understand apparently he's not living full-time in that mansion of his, you know.
Isn't he really?
I think he's back in Sweden now, old chap.
Is he really?
I wonder why.
Well, I don't know. Perhaps he's come back Don't think he pokes his head in Mojang, perhaps still?
He might do.
I bet he doesn't.
Maybe he pokes his head in and says, do this, do that, and I like this idea.
Yes, I think people would like to think that, but I don't think he actually is.
No, I think he's actually left the office for the last time, sadly, old
yes,
chap.
indeed.
Maybe it's to do with visas, that's why he's back in Sweden, who knows?
It could be, I suppose it might be, yes.
You have to have all these complicated documents, don't you, and you have to stay there so many days, maybe, I don't know, it could be something like that. But anyway, fellows, it seems that we do have some rather exciting news which represents the first Minecraft news we've seen in a while. That is a new block, a new type of crop, and perhaps some tweaks to bosses and whatnot.
Well, most certainly, yes. We'll have to see how this, expands, etc. So what comes of all this.
That's
it looks like the sort of the grass piles, or the dirt piles, as it were, not grass, are definitely in. The other thing is, yes, we'll have to see how they pan out.
If you pardon the pun, I think they're doing the groundwork at the moment, old chap.
Yes, most certainly. I think they are.
Ah, there are, fellows. Well, I dare say we'll have more news for you, fellows, as and when it becomes available. So do stay tuned, I say.
Oh, yes.
In the meantime, this has been Game Jam and Birdie. Thank you for joining us, I say. I look forward to seeing you once more the next exciting outing, my word. Until then.